let's get right into it. Number 10. The screen glare stare. Ever find yourself squinting at your phone in a dimly lit room, convinced that if you just tilt it this way, the words will magically become clearer? Yeah, your brain loves that. It absolutely adores the challenge of trying to decipher pixels through a haze of blue light and your own rapidly deteriorating eyesight. What you're actually doing, my friend, is subjecting your precious optic nerves to a relentless assault. This isn't just about eye strain, it's a full-blown neurological wrestling match. Your brain, in its infinite wisdom, tries to compensate for the lack of proper lighting by cranking up the internal contrast and brightness settings, like a desperate DJ trying to save a failing party. It's constantly adjusting, constantly working overtime, and for what? To scroll through another endless feed of cat videos and existential dread. This sustained effort doesn't just make your eyes tired, it messes with your circadian rhythm, that internal clock that tells you when to sleep and when to pretend to be a productive member of society. Blue light suppresses melatonin, the hormone that whispers sweet nothings of slumber into your ear. So, while you're busy trying to read that tiny font, your brain is getting a mixed signal: it's daytime. Stay awake. Also, why are we so tired? It's a biological paradox, a self-inflicted wound, all because you couldn't be bothered to turn on a lamp. Basically, your brain is running a marathon in the dark, and it's not even getting a medal. Number 9. The headphone homicide. Ah, headphones. Your personal bubble of bliss, your escape from the mundane symphony of life. But here's a fun fact: that bubble is slowly but surely crushing your brain cells like grapes in a very tiny, very loud vineyard. You crank up the volume, thinking you're just immersing yourself in the music, but what you're actually doing is sending shockwaves directly to your auditory cortex. It's like having a tiny, aggressive rock concert happening inches from your eardrum, 24/7. Your ears, bless their delicate little souls, are equipped with these microscopic hair cells that are responsible for translating sound waves into electrical signals your brain can understand. Think of them as tiny, highly sensitive antennae. When you blast your favorite tunes at ear-splitting levels, these antennae get overstimulated, fatigued, and eventually they just give up. They lie down on the job, permanently. And once they're gone, they're gone. Your brain then has to work harder to fill in the gaps, trying to make sense of incomplete auditory information. It's like trying to solve a crossword puzzle with half the clues missing. This constant compensatory effort can lead to cognitive fatigue, reduced attention span, and even a heightened risk of dementia later in life. So, next time you're about to max out the volume, remember, you're not just enjoying the music, you're actively participating in the slow, agonizing demise of your own hearing and, by extension, your brain's ability to process the world. Your brain is basically screaming, "Can you hear me now?" from the inside, and the answer is increasingly no. Number 8. The endless scroll hole. Ever picked up your phone for just a second to check one thing, only to resurface 45 minutes later, blinking in confusion, having somehow navigated from a recipe for artisanal sourdough to a deep dive into the mating habits of obscure deep-sea mollusks? Welcome to the endless scroll hole, where time warps and your brain cells go to retire. This isn't just about procrastination, it's a fundamental rewiring of your neural pathways. Every time you scroll, every time a new shiny piece of information pops up, your brain gets a tiny hit of dopamine. It's like a slot machine, but instead of money, you're gambling with your attention span and cognitive function. Your brain learns to crave this constant, unpredictable reward, making it increasingly difficult to focus on tasks that require sustained effort, like, say, reading a book or having a coherent conversation. You're training your brain to expect instant gratification, to flit from one stimulus to the next without truly engaging. This constant context switching, this mental ping-pong, is exhausting. It depletes your cognitive resources, making you feel mentally drained even when you haven't actually done anything. It's like trying to run a marathon by sprinting 10 feet, stopping, sprinting another 10 feet, and so on. You're burning energy, but getting nowhere fast. So, while you're busy scrolling through the digital abyss, your brain is slowly forgetting how to build mental stamina, how to truly concentrate. It's becoming a master of superficial engagement, a jack of all trades, master of none, and it's all thanks to that infinitely refreshing feed. Your brain is basically a goldfish now, but with Wi-Fi. Number 7. The autocorrect autocrat. Remember when you actually had to think about how to spell a word? Good times, right? Now, your phone's autocorrect feature has become the benevolent, yet utterly tyrannical dictator of your digital communication. It swoops in, corrects your T to the, and you barely even notice. But here's the insidious part: your brain is outsourcing its spelling and grammar duties. It's like having a personal assistant who's so good at their job, you eventually forget how to do anything yourself. This constant reliance on autocorrect means your brain's internal spell checker, the one that used to fire off neurons and retrieve linguistic data, is getting rusty. It's sitting in a dusty corner of your mind, playing solitaire, while the autocorrect autocrat handles everything. This isn't just about spelling, it's about cognitive effort. When you don't have to actively recall information, those neural pathways weaken. You're essentially telling your brain, hey, you can chill out, the robot's got this. And your brain, being the efficient organ it is, obliges. The result? A subtle but significant erosion of your linguistic precision and cognitive recall. You might find yourself staring blankly at a word on paper, unable to recall its correct spelling, because your brain has been trained to expect a digital safety net. It's a slow, silent coup, where your phone isn't just correcting your typos, it's subtly diminishing your mental faculties. So next time you type ducking instead of *****ing, just remember, it's not just a funny typo, it's a tiny victory for the autocorrect overlords, and a small defeat for your brain's independent thought. Your brain is basically a highly paid consultant whose job has been automated by a free app. Number 6. The GPS brain drain. Remember the good old days? When you actually had to consult a physical map, or ask for directions. Your brain, back then, was a finely tuned navigational instrument, constantly calculating routes, memorizing landmarks, and building a mental map of your surroundings. Now you have a disembodied voice telling you to turn left in 200 feet, and your brain has essentially retired from its cartography duties. This isn't just about convenience, it's about the atrophy of your spatial memory and navigational skills. When you rely solely on GPS, your hippocampus, the part of your brain crucial for forming and retrieving memories, especially spatial ones, gets less of a workout. It's like having a personal trainer who does all the reps for you. Sure, you get to the finish line, but your muscles aren't getting any stronger. Studies have shown that taxi drivers, who actively navigate complex city streets, have larger hippocampi than bus drivers, who follow fixed routes. So, every time you blindly follow the blue line on your screen, you're essentially telling your brain, don't worry about it, I've got a robot for that. And your brain, being incredibly efficient, and a little lazy, happily complies. It stops actively engaging in the process of route planning and environmental awareness. You might arrive at your destination, but you'll have a far less robust understanding of how you got there, or how to get there again without your digital overlord. This passive navigation can lead to a reduced sense of direction, a diminished ability to form new spatial memories, and a general dulling of your cognitive mapping abilities. Your brain is basically a passenger in its own car, occasionally nodding off in the back seat while Siri drives. Number 5. The notification nuisance. Ding. Buzz. Vibrate. Your phone, that ever-present digital siren, is constantly vying for your attention, and your brain, bless its easily distracted heart, is falling for it every single time. These incessant notifications aren't just annoying, they're actively fragmenting your focus and eroding your ability to concentrate. Imagine trying to read a book while someone taps you on the shoulder every 5 minutes. That's what your brain is dealing with, but instead of a gentle tap, it's a full-blown mental air horn. Each notification, whether it's a new email, a social media like, or a random game update, triggers a micro-interruption. And here's the kicker. It takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to get back to your original task after being interrupted. So, that quick glance at your phone isn't just a few seconds lost, it's a quarter of an hour of cognitive recovery time. Your brain is constantly shifting gears, context switching between tasks, and this mental gymnastics routine is incredibly draining. It depletes your executive functions, the cognitive processes responsible for planning, problem-solving, and sustained attention. This constant state of partial attention means you're never truly immersed in anything, always hovering on the periphery, waiting for the next digital crumb to drop. It trains your brain to be perpetually vigilant for external stimuli, making it harder to generate internal focus and engage in deep work. You're essentially turning your brain into a Pavlovian dog, salivating at the sound of every digital bell. Your brain is basically a squirrel trying to cross a highway, constantly dodging traffic and forgetting where it buried its nuts. Number 4. The search engine amnesia. Remember facts? Like, actual verifiable facts that you used to store in your brain? Yeah, neither do I, thanks to the benevolent overlord that is the search engine. Why bother committing anything to memory when the sum total of human knowledge is just a few taps away? This isn't just about convenience, it's about a phenomenon known as the Google effect or digital amnesia. Your brain, being the ultimate efficiency expert, has realized it doesn't need to store information if it knows where to find it. It's like having a library card but never actually reading the books, just knowing which shelf they're on. The problem is, this externalization of memory means your brain's internal hard drive is getting less and less use. The neural pathways associated with recall and long-term memory formation are weakening because they're simply not being exercised. You're training your brain to be a master librarian, not a scholar. When you constantly offload your memory to the internet, you're not just forgetting trivia, you're subtly diminishing your ability to synthesize information, to make connections, and to engage in deep, critical thinking. True understanding often comes from wrestling with information, from recalling it, manipulating it, and integrating it into your existing knowledge base. If you're just looking up snippets and moving on, you're missing out on the cognitive heavy lifting that builds intellectual muscle. So, while you might feel smarter because you can instantly access any piece of information, your brain is actually becoming a bit of a cognitive couch potato, content to let the internet do all the mental legwork. Your brain is basically a highly advanced Rolodex, but it keeps forgetting where it put the actual cards. Number 3. The microwave mind melt. Okay, so maybe the microwave isn't literally melting your brain with radiation, probably, but it's definitely messing with your patience and, by extension, your cognitive wiring. Think about it. The microwave is the epitome of instant gratification. Pop something in, press a button, and voila! Hot food in 90 seconds. This constant exposure to near-instant results has subtly recalibrated your brain's expectation of how long things should take. Your brain, once capable of patiently waiting for a pot to boil or a slow-cooker meal to simmer for hours, now experiences a mini-crisis if a web page takes more than 3 seconds to load. This isn't just about being impatient, it's about a fundamental shift in your temporal perception and your ability to tolerate delay. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for impulse control, planning, and delayed gratification, is getting less and less exercise. It's like a muscle that's rarely used. It starts to atrophy. When you're constantly bombarded with instant solutions, your brain becomes less adept at problem solving that requires sustained effort, strategic planning, or the ability to endure frustration. You're training your brain to expect immediate rewards, making it harder to engage in tasks that have a longer payoff, like learning a new skill, saving for retirement, or, cooking a meal from scratch. This constant craving for speed and efficiency can lead to increased anxiety, reduced resilience, and a diminished capacity for deep, reflective thought. So, while your microwave is busy heating up your leftovers, it's also subtly cooking your brain into a state of perpetual impatience, making you less capable of handling anything that doesn't come with an express lane. Your brain is basically a toddler demanding its juice box now, and it's throwing a tantrum if it doesn't get it. Number 2. The smart home overlord. Imagine a world where you don't have to lift a finger. Lights turn on when you enter a room, coffee brews itself at precisely 7 a.m., and your thermostat adjusts to your every whim without you ever touching a dial. Sounds like paradise, right? Wrong. It sounds like a brain slowly losing its grip on basic motor skills and decision-making. Your smart home, that beacon of convenience, is subtly eroding your cognitive independence. Every time you utter a command to an AI assistant, or let an automated system handle a task you once performed manually, you're essentially telling your brain, you know what? You don't need to bother with that anymore. And your brain, ever the opportunist, happily sheds those responsibilities. This isn't just about forgetting how to flip a light switch, it's about the gradual disuse of neural pathways associated with planning, initiation, and execution of simple tasks. When you don't have to consciously decide to turn on the lights, or remember to lock the door, those small, everyday cognitive exercises start to fade. Your brain becomes less engaged with its immediate environment, less reliant on its own internal processes for managing daily life. It's like having a personal assistant who not only handles your schedule but also decides what you wear, what you eat, and eventually, what you think. This over-reliance on automation can lead to a phenomenon known as automation complacency, where your vigilance and critical thinking skills diminish because you trust the system implicitly. You stop checking, you stop thinking, and you just assume everything is being handled. This can have serious implications, not just for your ability to function without your smart devices, but for your overall cognitive agility and problem-solving capabilities. Your brain is basically a pampered monarch, surrounded by servants, slowly forgetting how to tie its own shoes. Number 1. The digital detox delusion. So you've heard all this and you think, aha, I'll just do a digital detox. You bravely declare a weekend free from screens, a noble quest to reclaim your brain from the clutches of technology. You might even feel a surge of smug satisfaction as you unplug. But here's the kicker. The very idea of a digital detox highlights just how deeply ingrained these objects are in your brain's operating system. The fact that you even need to consciously disconnect, that it feels like a monumental effort, is proof of their insidious power. Your brain, having been constantly stimulated, constantly rewarded, and constantly distracted by these everyday objects, now experiences withdrawal symptoms when they're removed. You might feel restless, anxious, bored, or even a strange phantom vibration in your pocket. This isn't just psychological, it's physiological. Your brain has adapted to a constant influx of information and stimulation, and when that tap is suddenly turned off, it goes into a kind of shock. It's like trying to quit sugar cold turkey after a lifetime of candy. Your dopamine receptors, accustomed to their regular hits, are now screaming for their fix. This struggle to disconnect, this internal battle, reveals the extent to which these objects have not just influenced your habits, but have fundamentally altered your brain's reward system and its capacity for self-regulation. The delusion is thinking that a temporary break will magically reset everything. It's a band-aid on a bullet wound. While a detox can offer a temporary reprieve, the underlying neural pathways and learned behaviors are still there, waiting to be reactivated the moment you plug back in. The real challenge isn't just to disconnect, but to fundamentally re-educate your brain, to teach it new ways of finding satisfaction and focus without constant external stimulation. Your brain is basically a hostage who's been given a brief, supervised visit with the outside world, only to be returned to its captors, more aware than ever of what it's missing. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.